Okay, here goes nothing. Is this the same dude on a different account? I never said I'm against the EU. You are so stupid. Yeah, same dude. And our freaking low life. A freaking low life. The EU was never canon. Still spelt canon wrong. Approval doesn't mean acceptance. Yes, it does. You are so dumb. You are nothing but stupid with the brain lollipop. The brain lollipop. Oh my gosh. Dude, it's all jacked up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing ever. Oh, thank you so much, Darth Watts. That was hilarious. Oh, I've got. I'm stupid with the brain lollipop. Okay, the clips are all jacked
It's the
up.
best on wax. It's the Cornettes with Lollipop.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop.
Boom, boom, boom.
This sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott! What the hell is a gigawatt?
There we go. I fixed it. Oh man. Let's see, is it working yet? Bear with me, folks. This is really frustrating. Let me just check something. Oh, there's the chat right there. Okay. There we go. It's working. It's working. Flipping heck, man. Right, let's start that again. Those clips totally threw off the intro. Right, punch it. I'm Star Wars Scran. Welcome to another Manic Monday stream, you bunch of brain lollipops. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, no matter where you are in the world. Thank you so much for being here with us, taking the time to talk some real Star Wars as we continue to do our part in preserving the lore, canon, and continuity of Lucas-era Star Wars. We are we are hanging out in the basement, so grab yourselves a beverage, whether it's some Corellian whiskey, some Romulan ale, or maybe some of that hot chocolate that Lando taught Luke how to make. We're going to be reading Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. And if you haven't yet, Bane of the Shills has been sharing the audiobook over on Rumble, which is really awesome. I actually fell asleep listening to it, so I've been cheating a little bit. I'm a few chapters ahead of us, so you can head over there and listen to that. Please let me know in chat if everything seems to be working. Oh, dude! It's working on Rumble! Yes, SWA's here. He's not a Rumbleist like me. Right, let's say... sorry about that, folks. Technical issues. First up, we had OG Star Wars saying, sub, like, and share to all your social medias. That'd be helpful, thank you. Soul Assassin says, Corellian whiskey, only calf drinkers like that stuff. Get yourself some Mandalorian ale or Korriban wine. Mandalorian and Grogu ale, aye. Howdy, Wolfscar. Aye, that's right, OG. Soul Assassin likes the weak stuff. Can't handle his whiskey like a true Scotsman, right? Such a riveting stream. Well, we'll work it out. This is our first time using a restream, so we're just working out the kinks. It's like I tried to play my intro clip and then it all just messed up. But anyway, we're back in business. Iron Inquisitor says, may your may your lums reek. May they indeed. Wolfscar says, I don't know if anyone noticed, but they released another Maul Shadow Lord trailer. Bleh. Yeah, I checked it out earlier. It's nothing special. I honestly will never get over the fact that a Star Wars trailer with Darth Maul just has no effect on me whatsoever. That's right, OG, we're on Rumble. And Bane of the Shills isn't even here. He's the whole reason I did it, because he kept making fun of me and calling me a Rumbleist. You Corellians are all alike, OG. I can hold my whiskey and make the Kessel Run. Wait, sometimes. Big Dog, are you from Edinburgh? No, I'm from somewhere between Edinburgh and Glasgow. I'm not going to disclose. But how would you even... I do have... my accent is a little bit more Edinburghian or whatever you would call it. I don't sound like where I'm from. The Rumble handle, let me... It's light sticks, pew pew. Let me tell you what, bear with me. I can... Oh, Soul Assassin, I don't get Rumble. Do you have to pay to watch streams on it? No, I don't think so. The problem with setting it up this way was that it wouldn't give me a link, you know? It said it would just appear when we go live. So we're working out the kinks here. Let me get the link because I sent it out to SWA earlier. Let's see. There's the link. And I will, let's see, copy and send it to all you lovely people over in the channel updates. Now, folks, tonight's stream could go either way because we potentially have a guest coming on, more like a detractor, right? Next week we actually have someone coming on to chat with us who can also be considered a detractor. I did kind of call them out on the community post. I says, you have a lot to say, so just come on stream and say it. Basically come say it to my face, all right? If our guest, I've sent the link out, he might just not have seen it or changed his mind or whatever. We'll see, but we're gonna hang out, and if you came for a debate, it might not 100% happen, but you can leave if you're a fake Scran fan, right? If you're a true Scrandosian brain lollipop, you'll hang around for Darth Vader. Wait, I've not even got my camera on. What? Total slacking right now. How do you even do it? There we go. Howdy, folks. We've got the Boba Fett shirt on. That's how you know we're real fans over here. I'm totally up in the air here, folks. I apologize. I actually had a really, really bad day, so I was like, I wanted to cancel the stream, but then somebody wanted to come on and debate me, right? So I was like, we'll just do it, but I pushed it back a bit. And I'm not seeing them popping up yet. Simple Scran. I like to try and keep my streams simplistic, although I have worked out that I can use scenes, right? I never knew about that before. So say I wanted to do this. Is it gonna swap it out for me? I want to use this one. There we go. I can get sources up on the screen. Look at that. Look at that. And this is pertaining to George Lucas's sequels, right? When the licensing people came and asked, can we do novels? I said, do sequels, because I'll probably never do sequels. Wow. Pretty neat, right? So what I need to do is get a lot of those great sources up so I can just pop them up whenever I want. Or I can stop being a cheapskate and get a laptop and do this properly. Oh, there's the link to Rumble. Thank you, OG. I definitely need to get OG's clip back up. That's what it's all about. What's the debate? Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't normally debate false premises, right? So the debate that these people have is that the EU wasn't canon to George Lucas or whatever, which isn't even a talking point that EU fans raise, you know? Never happened. Oh, hey, we've got a clip for Dan Blackroyd, actually. Let's see if it works. Take me off screen. Let's see if the clips work. If it messes up, at least we know that it'll fix itself. Where is it? This is how you do it here. I got one just for Dan Blackroyd. Here we go.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
All right, you win. I see you've played knifey spoony before.
Hey, give me one of those famous giant beers I heard so much about.
Something wrong, Yank?
No, it's pretty big, I guess.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
Beer it is.
No, I said coffee.
Beer?
Cough-E.
B-ear?
C-O.
B-A?
B-A. Excellent. Awesome. Need to get more Simpsons clips as well. Keep the Stover quote handy. Aye, in slow motion, right? On repeat. Was canon. Yo, we've got Casual Chris up in here. No, but Scran, licensing is not part of Lucasfilm. Believe it or not, the Insider magazine got to a point where Lucasfilm attained it again, right, after decades. And on like the first page of all the magazines, it has like, it's a section about like who's working at, under Lucasfilm, and it's all like people that work for licensing and stuff. So, yeah, it's called Lucasfilm, but it's like licensing. So it's all under the same umbrella, and that's what these people don't understand. They're arguing something that's not even a debate, you know. So that's why I just don't really argue about that. Also, good to see you here, Poncho. I don't often get you in chat, so I'm happy you're here. Does this time work better for people, like a little bit later? Just wondering. Oh, the Bent the Wiki quote, yeah, it's the best. I need to spend some time getting all my sources and stuff back. Honestly, I had StreamYard set up just the way I liked it, and then they wanted to charge me like $400 every time I wanted to do a stream. I was like, no, not happening. Hopefully our guest turns up, but we'll just proceed as normal. I can quickly double check the email to see if he responded. To be fair, I didn't think he would respond at all. But let's see. It's quite cool that we've got a Rumble active now. Let's double check this real quick. Dude, I'm rubbish at technology. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see. Anyway, folks, how's your days been? Like, let me know in chat. Has anyone been reading any expanded universe material lately? Let me know in chat. And Dan Blackbird was telling us about the sequels. It's a good thing he's here if we are going to debate sequels, because that's one of this guest's talking points. The sequels will be great. Just stop worrying and asking. We'll get them when the when the time comes, right? He's enjoying his lollipop. Ah, I forgot to grab my lollipop. Oh well. Let's see. Honestly, my brain is fried. It's been a long day. The opposition might have bailed, OG. That's what I'm saying. They talk about game until you call them out. That's not what I want. I want Gmail. That's what I want. Yeah, he's not responded to the link. I'll come debate you tomorrow when you're live. Just send me the link and I'll be there. That's the thing. Like, he's always in chat having a lot to say, calling me stupid, calling me all sorts. They go on all their little tea party tangents, right, in the comments and in their own videos, and they want to say all sorts, slander and call us liars and stuff. And they all think I'm part of the JKA as well, which isn't even a thing. And then they're using screenshots from my Discord claiming that it's the JKA Discord, which doesn't even exist. So, let's see. I didn't see if anyone was reading. Spectre of the Past. Is that what you're reading, Poncho? Nice. They're pretty high on my list to read. I've heard people like OG always say that duology is better than the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So looking forward to it. And then it leads right up into New Jedi Order, right? Well, Double A, one of them is next week's guest, and one of them was supposed to be tonight's guest, but he's not turned up. Word up, Scran. Hope you're liking the book so far, and may the real force of real Star Wars be with you. Cheers, backseater. Yeah, the book's been great. We're on chapter 7. And like I said, I was listening to Bane of the Shell's audiobook that he did on Rumble, and yeah, I got up to like chapter 10 before I fell asleep, but it was brilliant. It was really, really good. It's what I tell George all the time. Yeah, stop worrying about it, George. Oh, George just has to call on your name, is that right? You're so dependable. Are you able to go to full screen? Yo, I don't like that because now I can't see anything. I think I can. Is that it? Yeah, there you go. I was just taking advantage of these other options here. I'm not used to having all this free stuff on StreamYards, right? But the fact I can do this is a total game changer. Where is it? Total game changer. Especially if these dudes want to start coming on and challenging facts, right? I can just be like, no, there you go. The problem is like videos, for sure. That's folks. That's why you have to get me to 1,000, and I can get monetized and pay for a streaming app. But yeah, apologies to anyone that was desperate for this debate. Right? It seems like they're not interested anymore. Scran is evolving. Certainly am. Oh, Poncho, thanks for bringing that up. Oh, and Iron Inquisitor. It was actually OG Star Wars I saw first talking about that. William, I'll get his name up. I'm not going to lie and act like I knew who he was, but yeah, really sad. We try our best to pay homage to these people that contributed to the saga, right? And I know a lot of you are fans of that Dark Forces trilogy as well. So, is the Dark Forces trilogy of like the books? Is it kind of like how the Force Unleashed book is a bit more like realistic than the games? Let me know. Ooh, here's a hot take. I don't think Heir of the Empire is very good, honestly. It's not bad, but I think sorry, it's very unambitious. Wow. Veitch's lore additions were far more powerful and long lasting for such a small footprint. Yeah, Tom Veitch went a lot more into like developing Jedi and stuff like that, right? And the cool thing was he literally had to go through George to get a lot of those things approved. Yeah, OG, his time to shine. It's all right. I think he's said all he has to say. All that would have happened was he would have been on here talking about George's sequels and all that nonsense, and then he would have just been going about saying that he debunked me, right? I debunked Scran on his own stream. But yeah, to be fair, I was kind of ambivalent towards it, but if he shows up, I'll give him his chance. I'll certainly give him a chance. Did your did your did your opponent that's how I can do it. Did your opponent approve of the debate but not accept it via his feelings? That is amazing. Yeah, He approved of the debate but didn't accept it. Oh, you guys are funny, honestly. Tom Veitch, is it Veitch or Veitch? Deserves more attention and loved by the fans. The guy made the Sith a more fearful threat. I'm not sure after the KOTOR comics whether to read Tom Veitch's Tales of the Jedi or the X-Wing comics. Yeah, Nazo's in chat. I was talking to him about those. Yo, what did I miss? You missed me messing up the stream and trying to get it going. And no longer a Rumbleist, that's correct. The thing is, Purist, well, first of all, folks, head over to Purist's channel if you want like a really good audiobook version of Dark Lord. I can't remember who said it, Purist. Someone says that my foe approved of this debate but didn't accept it. So it's pretty funny. I didn't even have talking points planned. I was just going to take it as it comes. That's how confident I am. And I was going to be nice as well. I mean, I probably would have asked them to apologise for calling me stupid, but it's whatever. How did I do this? Ah, there we go. Oh, you think so? Yeah, Poncho's coming in with all the hot takes. I like the gangster writing you got going on. Yeah, this restream, so far, like, I rate it. Like, I recommend it to anyone that's sick of StreamYards. Hail to the Sithari of the Shells. So, not Purist tonight was the other one, right? The brain lollipop. To be fair, it was kind of last minute, but like it was hours ago I responded to him, and then I sent him the link. So, oh, is that true? Yeah, I'll do. Subscribe to Fractured Filter. He's a great channel and a nice guy. Did I even highlight the right one there? Yeah. Just getting used to the new platform here, folks. He's taking AI notes. Hey, tell you what, why don't I get him on at the same time as the other guy next week? 2 against 1. I could get all 3 of them if Scruffy will take up the invite. 3 against 1, like the Darth Pause and EBN. I have to say though, folks, it's really awesome to have Bane of the Shells back with us in chat. His presence has been missed. That's why he's running late, you think? But Purist, when are you doing the second half of Dark Lord? Is that soon? Oh, there's Soul Assassin being a great mod with all the links. I don't know how he does it so fast. He ran out of brain lollipops. Yeah, man. I need to work it out because obviously, like Purist manages to put out links to his Rumble streams, but for me, it was like it didn't appear until the stream started. Keep them separate. Keep them. Nah, we'll get all of them on at once. That's how confident I am. Sorry, I'll come back to that one. Oh no. Oh no, we clicked something. Where's the chat? I'll read this first. Honestly, Scran, what do you think I'm going to start doing? Live reads of EU short stories. Oh, what do you think? I'm gonna start doing live reads of EU short stories. I've been trying to collect insiders, gamers, etc. for it. Nice one, dude. Yeah, short stories is a good idea because you don't have to invest too much time in it, and you'll have free time then, like you say, to gather all those other sources. Sorry, I wanted to get back to what that was. Part 2 was on Saturday. Oh, I missed it. That's the only thing is that I'm trying to read it at the same time, you know. Dude, those are evergreen though. Like, if you don't want to listen to me butcher it, go over there and listen to that. Shadowhunter, yeah, I'm excited. I've already read that one, so that one will be good. Did you just check out the new trailer today? Groundbreaking stuff, right? Yo, Matum's here. Hey, Scran, I hope Hot shows up. He said he would. Like I said, I've had a bad day. I was going to cancel the stream today. But his intervention means we can hang out for a little bit, so it's good. Oh, dude, I did have a pretty terrible day, though. Like, today, I was on the verge of, like, I'm going to be quitting my job anyway, but, like, today I was like, this is the day. Like, I do not want to go back there. That's right. I wonder if... Can we put a date on when Sam Witwer did the audiobook for that? Because I wonder if that's Shadowhunter is the audiobook he was talking about in that clip, right? Because he's talking about doing an audiobook for Darth Maul that doesn't link with TCW. But obviously this came out like ages before TCW, so it probably wasn't. Yeah, time's rolling on. Does this... I don't think this even tells me how long the stream's been going. Yeah, I wonder if... because they always say Sam Witwer's the lore guy, right? I wonder if he didn't realise Shadowhunter was before TCW. The Essential Legends books. So I wonder if... I need to look into that. It would be kind of funny. This doesn't tie in with TCW. It doesn't matter, dude. It's campfire stories. I missed those campfire streams before I moved out of my flat. We had the candles going. It was awesome. Getting in the Filoni vibes. Oh, definitely SWA. Definitely. Read some EU. The other problem is that like the light in here is gubbed. Like the light won't come on. So I'm going to be reading under like whatever this lamp is. Not great. I agree, OG. I don't even like... Not just saying that because I'm not a fan of the show. I do not like his interpretation of Maul. It's just like... It's kind of cringy, you know? Yeah, get the actual guy that voiced Maul in the movie. Did you hear about when they did the... Why am I so out of breath? So unfit. When they did that, the Solo movie, and they threw in the member berries at the end with Maul. Apparently that was partly Dave Filoni's idea. He and Sam Witwer, because the dude that voiced Maul actually did it. He was hired to do it. And then Sam Witwer's the one that was like, nah, it doesn't sound right. Like, imagine that. Like, fair enough doing it to Filoni, but like actual Darth Maul, oh, it doesn't sound right. I think it should be done like this. They went behind the guy's back and re-recorded the lines. So he's not in that movie. Like, he kind of won out in the end. But imagine having the gall to like go behind like an OG Star Wars veteran's back and like take his job from him. Absolutely like despicable, I think. Just to cosplay as the character, right? And it's to the point where like I can't even be bothered with Force Unleashed anymore because his face annoys me. Let's see. I saw something. But yeah, good point, Dan Blackroyd. Scran having basement problems. Yeah. The light, it's like they forget I'm down here. The lights don't work. Yeah, that's right, Poncho. You probably said that before I did. Saving the movie. I need to find the clip because it's ridiculous. But they always say things like it's like revolutionary and like they did something great, and it's like you just sound like an idiot, man. Key jiggling. Yo, Pro Jack fans here. Long time no see, dude. Tonight I'm going to start the Coruscant. Sorry. Oh, I keep skipping that. Sorry. Tonight I'm going to start the novelization of the only film in this saga. The only film in the saga. The saga. Nice one, Pro Jack fan. Let me know what you think, because I've only read the first couple chapters, because I saw that there was extra stuff with Anakin in there. And there's also all the Darth Bane stuff, yeah? You're down in the underworld of Coruscant, hoping you don't run into any... Oh, yeah, I did. The Scythe... Is it the Scythons? Darth Maul didn't have a problem with them. I bring up many good points when I discuss this with George. I don't doubt it. Yeah, that's right, Lucas. Scran should yell, "Mom, more Mountain Dew and Doritos." That's funny. Guys, you're spelling mum wrong. It's M-U-M, not M-O-M. Oh, you're getting into the brain chip discussion. I've had it with that. Let's double check and see if our guest has responded. Let's see. It's if he doesn't, I'm gonna send the link to the Discord to see if anyone can help me out, just so I can see how it works on this platform. You can get a chance to say hello, but I'll maybe do that before the book. Why can't I just focus on one thing? Nah, still nothing. They're all talk. Is the wattage too low? The 1.21 gigawatts. Get your brain lollipops. Yeah. Like I said, long weekend, hard day today. Didn't really have time to plan much. I really just wanted to mess around with this platform and read some of Darth Vader and catch up with you guys. I'm sure some of you will agree. Like anyone that does stream, sometimes the more laid back streams are a lot funner. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah. The only thing I saw today in regards to fake Star Wars, right? There was the Darth Maul trailer, which wasn't very good, and then it was this article about Galaxy's Edge, and it was like, oh, there's scaffolding behind the Millennium Falcon, right? Honestly, I don't know what it is recently. There's like slow news day for all these outlets. They were talking about this scaffolding, and they're like, I wonder what is going on. Are they going to paint the Falcon, or are they going to paint that building? And it's like riveting stuff. Almost as riveting as Adam Driver's metal railing, right? Changing animation forever. All talk, no show. That's what they didn't even turn up to the celebration stream. 700 subs. Where were they? You'll get a chance next week. Hopefully, our other guest will show. Oh, like I said, the stalker's never getting an invite because he relishes the attention, right? Cool beans. I had another clip I wanted to share. Let's just make sure. I think what happened was when it first booted up, it like got ahead of itself somehow. Or it might be because I run this app through one email and then I've got my Star Wars Scran email up for like sending a link out or whatever. I will work that out. Let's see if we can play a clip without it getting messed up. This was actually one I wanted to use for the community stream, but it didn't work. Here we go. Is it gonna work?
I've just made a deal that'll keep the Empire out of here forever.
We would be honored if you would join us.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry too.
Oh no. Yes. How did I get rid of this? That's the thing. Remove. We've got clips, but because I'm a cheapskate and I'm not monetized, I only get 3 clips. So what I need is to get. I'm working on a really epic intro clip, and then I need like I need like a clip for like running to the refresher, right? And maybe ones I can alternate for whatever the topic is. But I need my OG clip. I need Rob Zombie in here for when the lurkers are here. I want to hear what Darth Watts has to say in person, face to face. That was the idea. Like, to be fair, I was a little bit ticked off when I did the community post. I was chilling at the local pub, right? Drinking my sorrows. And I saw that video that Momo posted. It's like they never just talk about Star Wars. It's always like debunking EU elitists. And a lot of I'll maybe save it for next week, but like basically a lot of my sources were used in there. And just like bringing my name up, but like not directly talking about me either. And it's like, oh, this is the last video I'm going to make. He says that every single time. And the thing that bugged me initially was that although he like was being cordial or whatever, he asked me to share sources, pardon me, to like show his friend. His friend was on the fence. Is it canon? Is it not? And I was like, sure, like show him these videos that I made. And then what do? You get the promise of a 6-hour long video trying to debunk the EU and George Lucas's involvement. Like, it just rattles my brain, because it's like, if you're a Star Wars fan, why are you putting all your efforts into trying to discredit something? You know what I mean? I don't get it. So if our guests do turn up, that's kind of my question to them. It's like, what about Lucas era Star Wars warrants this sort of reaction when people talk about it? Yeah. Rotate them per stream, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that'll keep it fresh, I suppose. Or I can, like I say, I'll stop being a cheapskate. Once I've made the move, I'll probably have more funds to do stuff like that. No, not entirely. Not entirely. But at least I didn't back out when they were like, sure, we'll come on. And then they didn't turn up. They didn't turn up. They didn't even read one. You didn't even read one. Yes, and he was also saying that, like, I don't like the gatekeepers and stuff like that, right? And then he got upset when I changed my mind about him, because you're not allowed to change your mind, apparently, when people act dishonestly. Let's check one more time if he's going to come on. Why does this say I sent the link in 19? We've been streaming longer than 19 minutes, surely. That can't be right. Let's see. $50 minutes ago. It's been almost an hour. And I agreed to the stream like 5 hours ago. Let's see. His excuse may be he will be teamed up in the chat or something. I mean, you can go to bat for me. Well, OG offered to moderate, and we were going to be nice to him, you know? After he apologized. Ooh, I like the sound of that, purist. Might look into that. I quite like the way this one's set up. It's kind of like simplistic, which I like. It's like I don't need a lot when I'm doing these things, but I feel like I could be doing a little bit better with a little bit more tools or whatever. Yeah, call us cult members when he doesn't know what a cult is. Apparently we're in a cult. Liking and sharing Lucas era Star Wars, trying to share sources that disprove what Disney Star Wars has been doing. That's the whole point. It's they're the ones that have been here. I'll do this for SWA because he wanted a bigger screen. There you go. The whole point is that they're the people that own it are trying to rewrite the history, and we're all just saying like, no, that's not how Star Wars operated before Disney owned it, right? And you can argue all day about what George really considered like part of the story, but it's like he's the one that authorized his company that he's not separate from to continue the story, right? And I don't know if purists saw this, but I just worked out how to use scenes, and there you go. There's our source. I'm not going to do sequels, write sequels. So there you go. So I need to get some. Actually, I just had some ideas for that. It'd be pretty funny, like on a debate, if I just had one of those like set up in the middle and like, or we're like at both ends of this like quote. The contributions to the saga one, that would be good. StreamYards. Well, this this app that I'm using, OG, lets me see both, but I guess the mods can't, which is unfortunate. What he's laughing at? Let's see. I'm still waiting for an actual fracture or a statement that makes me a cult member, according to Watts Boy. He was talking about the EU treatment's not the EU. Oh, what quote is that? Is that the where he's talking with Kathleen Kennedy, right? We have hundreds of books and comics and other things. Take this treasure trove. Oh no, I'm not going to make. I always said I'm not going to make sequels, and I'm not. So I'm going to take my treasure trove of stories and various things and give them to Kathy so she can make great movies. Use the EU and make movies is what he was saying. And as late as they can argue like, oh, George said this, George said that. As late as 2012, that's when he said that the novels, the comics, the games, the shows, the movies were all part of the world of Star Wars. As late as 2012, and he said there's over 5,000 characters. You can go to all these source books. He's talking about like essential, the droid ones, the planets, the ships, the Puristanica, right? He's talking about the Puristanica, and they're full of EU, and he knows that they are because he read them when he was making the prequels. Oh, but the prequels contradicted EU. Not particularly. They really didn't. Yo! We got OG's twin. What's up, friendly on the Rumble side? Nice. Rumble is growing on me, for sure. Yeah, it's good. It's not good when I'm on my phone, though. That's the only thing. Like, if I'm trying to comment on stuff like on the move, it can be a little bit fidgety. We got another gatekeeper. Another gatekeeper. Where's Joshy boy when you need him? We need a purist to do his Newt Gunray accent, the Nemoidian. This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. Oh, purist. Tisk. I saw was someone asking about Mrs. Scran earlier. She's actually doing really good. Pleased to announce she's doing really good right now, which is awesome. Keeps me happy knowing she's having a good time. Let's see. Rumble's apps need work. King Chris said use Chrome and go to Rumble through the browser, not the app. That's an I don't think I don't use the app. I use the browser, but on my phone. It's just man, I suck at technology. Naskran KK said that there wasn't any material. Surely she wouldn't have lied. Oh wait. Never happened. Right, folks. Let's see. Let's chug this. and write a community post. What I want to do is, our guest, I don't think he's going to turn up, and I don't want to stream all night waiting for him, so we are going to run to the refresher. All of you can do the same, and what I'll do is I'll try our intro clip again, because obviously it messed up at the start, so this will give you time to recuperate, grab yourselves something to drink or whatever. Here, let's get this comment up while we play our clip, and I'll be as quick as I can. Thanks for being here, everybody, and hanging out despite the plans not really working out, right? And it's not like he's in the background waiting to get on. Like, I assume it would have popped up, and he's not responded to the. I mean, he's not in chat saying that he can't get in or whatever. Yeah, I know, purist. The kind of like tiffs you and her have actually cracked me up. It's pretty funny. Videos and right, let's play this. Is this the same dude on a different account? I never said I'm against the EU. You are so stupid. Yeah, same dude. And our freaking low life. Here we go. A freaking low life. The EU was never canon. Still spelled canon wrong. Approval doesn't mean acceptance. Yes, it does. You are so dumb. You are nothing but stupid with the brain lollipop. The brain lollipop. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing ever. Oh, thank you so much, Darth Watts. That was hilarious. Oh, I'm stupid with the brain lollipop.
From the racks and stacks, it's the best on wax. It's the Cornettes with Lollipop.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop. Boom, boom, boom. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, 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 lollipop.
Boom, boom, boom.
This sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott! What the hell is a gigawatt?
Heck yeah. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Remove. There we go. Whoa, that's weird. It's like it doesn't... What is going on here? That clip definitely messes up our camera. Can you guys hear and see me? Like, let me know. Maybe I need to... Right, we don't want those. Right, there we go. Gosh, is there a delay or something? Let's see for a minute. Is this going to happen every single time? Right, SWA can hear us, but can you see me? You can't see me. Alright, let's just give it a minute. You can only hear me. Right. I'll see if I click this. See if I click this. That's weird. I don't like that. Right, maybe it'll catch up with us. Let's see what yous are saying. Hope yous enjoyed the video. I know OG gets a kick out of it. Not your fault. He's a coward. I mean, if you're going to accept a debate, at least keep an eye out on your emails and turn up. I knew you wouldn't turn up. The brain lollipop. Oh, it's so good. The channel lore is evolving, and I love it. That gets me. And then he was like, no, I meant you have a brain the size of a lollipop. And I'm like, no, man, no, you already said it. Gosh. Yo, New York, Florida man's here. Long time no see. Hail Scran, hail chat, just stopping by to drop a thumbs up and with help the algorithm be back later. Cheers, dude. Thank you so much. Yeah, it can actually be kind of disheartening, like when I look back at older streams, because there's a handful of people that used to come around that just aren't here anymore, and it's a bit of a shame. It's probably something I've said or done or whatever, but it's whatever. Thanks for being here, dude. Even if it's just to say hello. Hey, this OG planned on being civil if when he popped on, but he's a no-show Joe. I was kind of interested in what he had to say. I mean, I kind of knew what he was going to say, to be honest with you. Low watts, low IQ. Well, Lucky Kennedy tried to say I had the IQ. What was it? He says my IQ is less than a goldfish. And I was like, goldfish are actually pretty clever, though. Like, National Geographic says that they're pretty clever. So, plus IQ doesn't have anything to do really with intelligence. It's more like measuring like problem solving skills and stuff, right? But I didn't expect the dude to do any amount of research before trying to insult me. Plus, he didn't even respond directly. He responded through his little pal. Gosh, that's why he's never getting invited on the channel. Spineless. Right, let's see if his camera's working yet. And it's not. Flippin' heck, dude. Right, it looks like you're just stuck with my voice for a bit. My brain lollipop hurts and AI has no cure. That's pretty good, double A. A case of the brain lollipop. Fake Scran fans, just like the fake free purists. If you're going to free purist, you've got to head over to Rumble. You can't just support and not listen. Support and not watch, or whatever it was, yeah. Right. I'm going to try and sort this camera out one more time, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the link, and if someone can hop on just to let me practice, and then I'll kick you out of here so we can read some Darth Vader, right? Oh, there's the time there. We've been going an hour. Awesome. Let's click on this and see if this will bring up a different thing. No. Video settings. Gosh. Right, so those long clips it does not like, apparently. Right, let's turn it off. Right, you're stuck with my voice. This is we're just going to be like any other channel at this point. Not that it's bad, unless you're a Joshy boy, right? People that don't use don't show their faces are like lesser. Oh man, it's a little bit annoying though. Yep, a whole hour and no brain lollipop. Right, I'm gonna send this link out and we'll see who decides to join. Watch this, nobody will join. Copy link. Let's see if this works. Where is the Discord? There it is. Hello, hello. It's working. There we go. I'm like sitting here talking to myself, man. Flipping heck, man. Hi, do you have invitation link to your Discord group? All right. Oh, sorry. I saw that you asked about that. Let me get back to you because I'm a little bit trepidatious about sending out the link these days. Just because someone was sharing screenshots and stuff, right? I really need to look into it and try and make it a bit safer for everyone because, to be honest, it's totally harmless in there, but it's like, it's not really fair if people. Oh, here we go. Where is. Oh, we've got 2 people wanting to come in now. Oh no, that's me. Let's. Is this how I do it right here? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good to hear. You're a wee bit late. Did you just see the email?
Well, I just saw the email and I've also had things to do all day.
Nice one. I've had a pretty crappy day, but I hope yours has been a bit better, man.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go out of town.
You're going into town?
Going out of town.
Oh, nice one. So we actually thought you might not turn up, but here you are. I'm getting used to
Well,
this.
I haven't forgotten about it.
Yeah. I'm getting used to this new setup. It's been a bit of a pain getting used to it. So, so anywho's like, there's obviously been a lot of like back and forth going on and stuff like that.
Yeah, there has.
I was just wondering, like, what's like. So when it comes to Star Wars canon, right?
Yeah.
The whole reason I have a channel is because like Disney Star Wars have been trying to rewrite the history of it, right?
Well, that's the way you feel.
No, that's like
And
how it is.
people like you feel.
People like me? No, that's how it
Yeah.
is. That's the thing.
Well, I also have like mixed feelings about Disney Star Wars, but I don't hate it entirely.
Oh, I don't hate anything. I just dislike it profusely. It's like I'm not interested in it, and it's the fact that they try and rewrite the history and they take from it and cherry pick it and stuff like that, you know? And they'll act like they're the ones that created it and stuff like that. So like my kind of I'm just wondering, like, because there's obviously a handful of channels, including yourself, that like take issue with people wanting to share the pre-established lore and talk about like how canon and stuff operated under George.
Well,
You know?
my issue is not the fact that you guys like the expanded universe.
Sure.
My issue is that people like you are claiming that the EU was George Lucas canon, which I 100% disagree with.
Why?
Because based on the George Lucas quotes and the stuff that I saw in Starlog, and not just the stuff that I saw in Starlog, the Star Wars Archives, which is from 1999 to 2005, where Lucas intended for Maul and Darth Talon to be the main villain of the sequel trilogy.
Well, that's
And
just sorry, I'll let you finish.
and not just that, but like Talon would be Maul's apprentice. And the difference between that and the EU is that in the EU, although George Lucas did pull the idea of Darth Talon from the EU, Talon was brought much earlier in the timeline because Talon didn't appear until 130 years after the events of Return of the Jedi in the expanded universe.
I don't think that's true. I don't think Talon was brought back because George was talking about Maul being a clone, right? Or is that to do with like that video game or whatever?
Well, Maul pretty much survived being cut in half. So
well,
he was
yeah, that's
half rope.
TCW stuff, though. That's not like George had.
Well, this was before Rebels came out because in Star Wars Rebels, Maul got killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But George wasn't involved with Rebels.
No, but Dave Filoni was, who studied under George Lucas. Dave Filoni learned about Star Wars and the Force from George Lucas.
A lot of people did.
And he used his knowledge to he used his knowledge and influence to make Star Wars going forward.
Okay, a lot of people worked under George and learned from him, though. What does that have to do with like EU being non-canon?
Because the Lucasfilm employees have to learn about what Star Wars is and what the Force is and how it works. Like the Force is not a superpower. It's not about lifting rocks. Like even Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back described the Force as the energy between all things.
Yeah, like I understand what it is, and obviously if you're working for George and you're making licensed official stories, you need to know that stuff. And they weren't just putting stuff out, you know what I mean? It's not like Filoni was sitting in a room with George on their own mapping out the future of Star Wars, right? That's not how it worked.
Well, no, but
yeah, it was kind of like so when George was working on TCW, it wasn't much different than how he interacted with Star Wars in general, you know, working with creatives, helping
Well, he
them
was
to.
working behind the scenes with Dave Filoni, telling Dave Filoni what to do when the Clone Wars was under production.
No, so it's not like I say. It's not like George telling Filoni what to do. There was like writers' meetings, like a round table with like there was like
Well, he
annual
wasn't like
meetings.
literally directly like holding his hand the entire time. I'm saying like he
Yeah,
was telling Dave Filoni what to do with the Clone Wars, but like he backed off as George Lucas became more and more confident with Dave Filoni.
yeah. You're. I mean, I can agree with that because the thing is, that's how George did it. He directed people on what to do. He vetoed. He approved things. Um, and he trusted his company to do that. And the thing is, and the thing that's disheartening to me is like Filoni is the one that is the only person in the history of Star Wars to not want to contribute to the overall story. He wanted to make his own mark on things. And that's something you see a lot in franchises today. It's like people want to put their own twist and subversion on things instead of um, contributing to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about Dave Filoni. And the thing is, like he's still doing it to this day. And like you said yourself, you're not entirely happy with everything that's coming out, right?
Well, what was I not so happy about the most was the way the sequel trilogy came out. The Rise of Skywalker is what really threw me off because I felt like, and it wasn't the issue of Palpatine coming back. It was more of the issue is that the film didn't really feel like a conclusion. It was just a 2-hour film put together, and as I watched the film, the production seemed a bit rushed. And on top of that, the way they did things with the Rise of Skywalker, the story, the plot, it really didn't feel like a conclusion to the Skywalker saga to me. Like there wasn't enough scenes in the film that would tie everything together, and some of the things like didn't make sense. Although I will say this though, when I predicted that Ben Solo would turn back to the light in episode 9, because I was predicting that since The Force Awakens came out.
Oh yeah.
It happened sooner in the film than I expected.
Well, hey man, like I can completely agree with that, like the sequels, but like to me, it's like people want to hate on the sequels, but then they'll excuse everything else, although it has like a lot of these same issues, right?
Yeah.
And like, would you refer to like Disney Star Wars as like canon? You know what I mean?
I mean, I acknowledge it as Disney's interpretation of what canon is.
Yeah, but then like so another one of my issues is when people refer to Lucas era as like legends, right? But then they'll refer to and they'll call it that because they'll say it's not George Lucas Star Wars when it was
Well,
all
it
made.
was titled Legends because it has the legend label on top of the books.
Well, that's a Disney thing though, right? When Star Wars was creating all this multimedia, it was just called Star Wars. It wasn't called Expanded Universe. It was Star Wars. You know?
Also, I've read some of the expanded universe books, like the Thrawn trilogy,
Nice.
and I like the way Thrawn was first brought in.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought it was pretty cool.
that's good to hear, man. And then so then there's another issue with Filoni, right? When he says things like, "I didn't want to take expanded universe characters and change them," but then what did he do with Thrawn? He completely changed them, and it's also untrue because when he was making TCW and all those behind the scenes, he's always talking about how he took characters like Eth Koth, he brought him back to life, even though everyone told him that he was dead, right? And then so he goes past the continuity editors and goes straight to George, and George is like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, he's alive," and then he kills him again. So it's like, why ruin continuity just to have the same outcome? It's so bizarre, and to me, he's just doing it for the fun of it. I don't understand that.
Okay.
You know?
Also, I've been predicting that Dave Filoni, like with Thrawn's return in Ahsoka, with season 1, how they set up Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire. I mean, Dave Filoni literally stole that idea of Heir to the Empire from the expanded universe that was created. Like
Well,
he
yeah.
took that idea, but then I made a speculation about with his movie how this could be like a rewrite of Heir to the Empire and the entire Thrawn trilogy. This Dave Filoni Star Wars movie that he has.
And then, well, there's another problem. It's like they're using popular established stories and altering them, right? And then all the normies come in and they're like, oh, Heir to the Empire, I've heard of that. But they're making like, they're just completely changing the story. And that's just not acceptable to me.
Like, I'll say about this, like Ben Solo and, well, I can see a lot of similarities between the two characters of Ben Solo and Darth Kaitis, who was Jason Solo. Like Darth Kaitis fell to the dark side in the expanded universe.
Yeah.
No, Jason Solo becomes Darth Kaitis in the expanded universe, and Darth Kaitis doesn't get a redemption. He gets killed by his sister Jaina Solo.
Spoiler alert! No, I'm just kidding. I've not. I know the story, but I'm not. I'm still reading NGO.
That's what I didn't like. That's what I didn't like. That's what I didn't like about the EU. My only issue I had is when Jaina Solo without a redemption, Jaina Solo killed Darth Kaitis, her own brother, and that's what I didn't like.
Right. I mean, I'll probably need to wait until I read it to get the full the full story, right? Because there's always context to the stuff, and honestly, while I've been learning EU stories, like there's always more context to it, and the continuity is incredible, and people have lied about that for a long time, saying it was a mess and stuff like that. It's obviously not perfect because it was being developed over like 30 odd years, you know. But the beauty of it was that George was always in charge. And I think the thing that people in your circle don't seem to understand is that, like, yes, George was not bound by it. Like, he even left. You probably already know this. He left Hollywood because he didn't want to be told how to make movies, right? So when he has authors wanting to write stories that he authorized them to do, he doesn't want to be bound by what they're doing. So his company work around him, and it's just that doesn't make the stories not important or non-canonical. It's just George has final say, you know, and he had a lot of the final say because he, like you say, like with Filoni and the TCW writers, he guided them, you know. The issue is that Filoni didn't contribute; he changed everything.
He had final say with the EU.
Yeah.
But the reason why he had final say with the EU is, like he said, it had to be so consistent to where it lined itself up with the movies. Mm-hmm. But the biggest reason why he allowed the EU to happen is, like, I'm not saying that George Lucas was ever planning on doing sequels or anything like that, but if he ever changes his mind, like, he has ideas that he could use from the EU, but that doesn't necessarily make it his canon. Like, he left it open because it brought money into Lucasfilm, but and just to leave it open for other open ideas. However, he with what I've been saying, he's always kept it separate from his movies, just like Star Trek, how there's two worlds in Star Trek.
Star Trek's different though, because Star Trek's novels don't tie in with the
difference with Star Trek is the TV shows and the TV show and the movie and the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, Star Trek's their multimedia is completely different, and that's what Howard Rothman talks about. But anyway, I've been trying to get used to this new thing. I've got a little source here. Will it let us both see it? It's so small. Let me do this so you're not looking right in my eyes, right? This is him talking about, you've probably seen this, he's talking about sequels. And he says there, when the licensing people came and asked, can we do novels? I said, do sequels because I'm probably never going to do them. and that's been pretty consistent with George, because I wish I had the clips here, because back in the was it 97, he was doing like
well, he decided to do the prequels in
yeah, well,
in the
well,
late 90s.
yeah, the prequels were in production from like the mid 90s, but when he was doing the special editions, he was being asked about sequels, and he said, you know, like the first 6 are going to get made, but I don't have any plans for sequels because there's no. He isn't interested in telling that story. So
Well,
when
yeah,
people when
he has said that. I will give you that. He has said that.
so
But
when
he also says that doesn't mean he's unwilling to turn it over to Kathy to complete the saga.
well that's that's when he's talking about his treasure trove of comics and novels, you know. But people
But
is a Darth Momo that says that's about the treatments, right?
yeah,
That's
like
not
he said that as he said there's hundreds of books of novels just for other possible ideas, like to maybe fill in the gaps of his treatments, or or if Disney doesn't want to use his treatments entirely, they could go based
that,
off the novels. But
but that's not what he said.
it
That's
doesn't.
not what he said though. He said, what is it? He said, we've got hundreds of books and comic.
He said we got hundreds of books, comics, novels.
Yeah, and he says, and he says, I always said I would never do sequels, and it's true, I'm not. So but that doesn't mean I'm not going to take the treasure trove and hand it to Kathy to make great movies, you know. And
Okay.
And then people talk about like how George originally wanted 12 movies, 9 movies. The fact of the matter is, he told the story of Anakin's fallen redemption.
That was his
in
first
6.
thought back
Yeah.
in back in the late 1970s. His first thought of Star Wars that it would be a 12-part saga, but that ended up changing real quick in September of 1980 when George Lucas said, "I'm just going to keep it pure. It's a 9-part saga that has a beginning, a middle, and an end." But then once Return of the Jedi came out, George Lucas decided he was done making Star Wars movies at that time, but then changed his mind when he decided to tell the fall of Anakin Skywalker. And yes, he hasn't written anything beyond episode 6, but he has written a prequel. He has written outlines for a prequel before he made the original Star Wars.
That's right.
Because he had to know where Vader came from, where Luke came from. How did the galaxy get into this mess?
Yeah, you're totally right. Because a lot of people say like George made Star Wars by accident. He's made it up as he went along. They don't understand how like stories develop over time, and it's the same with any other movie out there. You know, I can't remember the point I was trying to make there. So he said that he wasn't interested in telling the story after Darth Vader's death, and then he said it's been told in the books and comics and games, and like I think they're really good. Basically, he's got his company to cover that stuff because he's not going to do it, you know.
Yeah,
and
he's been
obvious, and then stuff like, oh, it's an author's interpretation. That doesn't mean it doesn't count. That just means George didn't write it, you know.
Well, yeah, George didn't write the EU. He left it up to the authors to interpret what canon is to Lucasfilm. But then, after he made the 6 films.
Yeah, but then the thing is, it's George's company. They can't just do stuff. You know what I mean? He always had the right to say yes and no, and that's when it comes to stuff like Mara Jade, and everyone's like, "Oh, George hated her." It's like he literally had from.
I mean, he allowed her to happen. He didn't hate the character. The only thing that I read up, because I read an interview from 2008 where George Lucas said when he was asked about the prequels, asked about the expanded universe. I got that mixed up, but he was asked about the expanded universe and said, and George Lucas said that isn't at all what I would have done with it. Once Vader dies, he doesn't come back to life. The Emperor does not get cloned, and Luke Skywalker does not get married. Like, doesn't necessarily mean that George Lucas hates the character. Now, Mara Jade could be a part of George Lucas's vision, but not envisioned with Luke Skywalker.
But that's the thing. Like he had from the Heir to the Empire trilogy all the way to the end of the Bantam era to say get rid of her. Like don't. They knew from that point that Luke was going to marry her. All the authors knew that. You know what I mean? If he didn't want it to happen, he could have. A lot of his involvement was like literally yes or no, because he was busy, right?
Well, he wanted to raise a family. That's the reason why he stopped making Star Wars films back in 1983.
Yeah, sure. And then also, I guess similarly, when he sold it, right?
Yeah, and then when he sold it, like by the time he could come up with 7 through 9, he sold Star Wars to Disney because he doesn't know whether or not he's going to be around after he gets done making the sequels because he'd be really old by then. So, and it was time for George Lucas to retire and leave Star Wars in someone else's hands.
Yeah, and the thing is, he kind of like with Filoni, right? He trusted someone to take care of it, and it just didn't work out, right?
Well, it's no secret that George Lucas has viewed Disney going on a different path than what he originally intended for Star Wars going forward. I will say that, but
Yeah.
as far as like me viewing what canon is, I said that George Lucas never viewed what was canon in the EU nor Disney Star Wars as his canon either. The only thing that I said is that I said, and the way I saw that George Lucas said, it seems like he only considered the 6 movies in the Clone Wars to be considered canon.
Well, that's not true either, though, because remember when George was given that interview at that school, and he was asking about Disney's deviation, and he said 1 through 6 are his philosophy. You know, he didn't say my 6 movies in TCW are very much mine and my philosophy. He said the movies, and that's because TCW was part of EU. It didn't become like T canon until later, and that was created for Underworld anyway. It wasn't created for TCW.
It does fill in the gaps between episode 2 and 3, and
yeah, but so did the multimedia project of all the comics and the Tartakovsky series, which George was involved in, and he read all those comics to the point where he mentioned a few of the scenarios in Revenge of the Sith, right, with Quinlan Vos and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, Quinlan Vos was an idea that was taken from the EU.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's synergy, right? It's this synergy that always existed, and then Disney are out there saying that it didn't exist, and they're going to do it for the first time. And then all their new EU, none of it matters to their overall story either. And the thing is, it worked so well before. Like, it wasn't perfect. It's like George had creative control, but his company were trusted to keep the continuity. But now it's just a complete shambles, and it's just vindicating when we're out here sharing like Lucas era, and
like George Lucas has addressed another series that would be taking place between episode 3 and episode 4 called Star Wars Underworld, which would be a live action series, and it would reveal some things about we would see Palpatine, we would see Palpatine's Palpatine's X in the series, and what led Palpatine to become Darth Sidious is that it was the loss of the love of his life that led him to the dark side. That's what George Lucas said, and he also wanted to do. At one point, he said he wanted like a story that told how Darth Sidious, how Palpatine became Darth Sidious, and how he became the character that we knew today.
That's kind of strange because like George was also involved in the Darth Plagueis novel, which was actually it was postponed in order to feature more Palpatine and stuff like that. So, and the thing with Underworld is it was never it was never made. You know what I mean? So it's not canonical to Star Wars. Just like a lot of George's sequel ideas that never got made. He had ideas about doing the movie about like the wills and stuff like that. Like ideas are just ideas until they're finalized, you know?
Well, that's true. They are ideas, but it doesn't always have to be. It doesn't. Ideas don't guarantee that they're going to be used. Like
Yeah,
Disney
exactly.
bought ideas, but they didn't use all of his ideas. They basically put their own spin on it when they made the movies.
Got you. So it's kind of bizarre because it seems like we're tending to like come draw a lot of the same conclusions here. You know what I mean? But I'm just wondering where the disconnect is. Is it like what is like your issue personally with like channels like mine?
My issue personally is that you guys claim that the EU was considered canon by George Lucas, which I saw that it's been debunked. Like George Lucas said that the EU is not a part of his world a few times in the 2000s. Like even there's people like Darth Momo and Script Trooper who went over George Lucas quotes, and he was asked on Barry Norman's film night. He was asked about the EU, but then George Lucas said, "I have my own world and I focus on that, which is the movies.
Yeah, but
I try not to worry about that too much."
Momo didn't include the end of the end of the quote where he says that those who expand the universe work for me. And when he's talking about worlds, he's not talking about an alternate universe. He's talking about mediums because he talks about the comic book world where he took Ayla Secura for Attack of the Clones. You know, the world isn't alternate worlds; it's mediums. George's world is movie making. You know what I mean? And that's like when he talks about the three pillars. You've got his world, the licensing, and was it fans? But like fans weren't even allowed to make continuations of the story. It had to be parodies.
So, well, and George Lucas said that just like Star Trek, how there's the TV show and the movies, we decided just like Star Trek that there would be two worlds. There would be my world and then this other world, which I say is the parallel universe. That was a quote from the 2000s as well.
Yeah, but the like I've said, like parallel does not mean separate in terms of alternate universe. It means that because what else is it he says? He says that
they're two. A parallel is.
He says they impede between the movies essentially.
Parallel are two lines above each other that run separate, but they run in the same direction.
Yeah,
and that's how the expanded universe lined up with the movies.
That exactly, and that's why Leland Chi elaborated. He says, George is not bound by EU. We're bound by him. So these lines, they're not allowed to contradict the movies. You know what I mean? George had control. Everyone else worked around him. It doesn't mean it's not canon to Star Wars. It's just George was focused on his movies.
It doesn't mean it's canon to George Lucas either.
But it's his company that he authorized to write continuations. He even said that the original saga had the grandchildren, right?
George Lucas also stated in the early 2000s that he has stated that he's worked with authors on the EU, but he also said sometimes they get enthusiastic and want to go off in other directions.
I just don't see why that makes it non-canon, just because he's not the one writing it.
Like they weren't doing what he was telling them to do, just like Disney isn't doing what they're telling them to do either. And another thing is that George Lucas, when they offered George Lucas to get involved, because Disney did offer an involvement of George Lucas to get involved with the first of the trilogy, Episode 7, but then George Lucas says, if if they're going to have me involved, all I'm going to do is cause trouble because they're not going to do what I tell them to do. That's from George Lucas in the interview back in 2015 before The Force Awakens came out.
Well, that makes complete sense because even as far back as Empire and Jedi, George was micromanaging the movies when he was supposed to be stepping back. And it's the same with the EU because he wanted to let them do their thing. And then
he wrote
he
the
wanted
stories for Empire and Return of the Jedi. He just didn't direct them.
Well, he directed parts of it, and he did the editing and stuff like that.
Well, he did the directing, and he was also the executive producer.
Yeah, it's like what I'm saying. It's his thing, but it's like he lets other creatives contribute, and that's the exact same with the EU. Guided by him.
Well, yeah, but still, like just because an author, like you shared some videos on your channel of some authors saying it was all canon, but what I'm not hearing is that they're saying that it's George Lucas canon. They're just saying canon, which that could mean anything. That doesn't quite interpret that it's George Lucas canon. That could be interpreting to, is it canon to the author's world or is it canon to George Lucas? That it could mean either or.
That doesn't make sense because canon is canon. It's not like there's multiple canons. Canon is canon.
Well, it's what the authors interpret what canon is. Like that's their interpretation of what canon is, but
no,
that doesn't necessarily mean it's what George Lucas considered canon.
It's what his company that he runs considers canon.
Well, his company considers it canon, but that doesn't mean he considers it canon. Like he made his 6 movies, and that's pretty much his and his philosophy.
That's what I'm saying. It was bound by him.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He
was focused on the movies, and he let his company make the rest of it.
He wasn't fully endorsing it as canon to.
Well, why did he call it? Then why did he call it part of the world of Star Wars and contributing to the saga?
That's because when he decided fans can write their own stories,
fans didn't write their own stories.
It's all basically, well, they're technically fans by the authors. They're technically fans that wrote the stories.
No, they're established science fiction authors that had to go through like a lot of work to get the opportunity to write for Star Wars. And the quote you're talking about was Matt Stover talking about canon, and he literally had meetings with George to do the novelization, and George told him that he could put EU in there. And George line edited that book himself. It's synergy. It all works.
Well, he told them they can write books about the EU, but they also
that's G canon. That's G canon. That's a book about the movie. And he
Are you talking about the novels to the movies?
Specifically, Revenge of the Sith.
Well, that part may be considered canon because they're based off the movies, but however, the books that are outside, such as the Thrawn trilogy, anything that takes place after Return of the Jedi or in the Old Republic, that doesn't make either of those canon.
Well, yes, they are because George told them to write those.
I mean, he told them to write those, but you also got to understand that the EU is also what helped George Lucas fund the prequels when he made the prequels in the late 90s. And he would profit off of it, and he would also leave it there as open ideas.
Well, that's
to draw
argument.
from.
I don't agree with that because George was making money off toys since like the 70s. Like he wasn't even sure if the books would sell. He didn't think the books would sell at first, and they did. They hit New York Times #1s, and everyone loved them. And they were called the continuation of the saga, right? And they weren't called EU; they were called Star Wars: Heir of the Empire.
Well, yeah, they had the title of Star Wars, and
That's because
that's basic.
they were official.
He allowed the authors to have their own interpretation, their own vision of what happens next. Because
It's their
when the author writes it, that's their vision of what happens next.
it's their
Like,
it's their interpretation, but they can't just write any old thing. There's outlines that go through George and his company. It's not like they just pull the guy off.
well,
the street.
he told them what they could and could not do with the expanded
Exactly.
universe.
I'm not getting like.
But that also doesn't make the expanded universe canon according to George Lucas.
He's telling them what to do.
Yeah, but telling them what to do doesn't necessarily make that canon.
That makes zero sense.
It's
That
yeah,
makes zero sense.
There's context to that.
What's the context?
Well, I just explained to you the context. Like, just
What, so
because
George
George
telling his
Lucas
company
told them
what to do
and what not to
doesn't mean
do.
that stories count.
Well, when George Lucas told him what not to do and what to do, or his involvement, that he was only involved because the authors reached out to him for help on how the book should be written.
They had to. They couldn't just write any old thing. They had to reach out.
Yeah, they have reached out to George Lucas and they've wrote it, but George Lucas said back in 2008 that isn't at all what I would have done with it.
Okay, because he was never going to write sequels. He let the company do it. That's not what he was going to do, because he was never going to do it.
Well, he wouldn't have had Mara Jade marry Luke if he ended up ended up making the sequel.
Why did he let them do it?
He let them do it because he was done making Star Wars movies.
There you go.
But still, that doesn't necessarily mean that's something that George Lucas would have done or that it was canon according to him.
But we've just established that he told his company what to do because he wasn't going to do it.
Well, yeah, he told his company what to do. Like there's a difference here. Like,
I don't think so.
Allowing is not total embracement. Like approval and acceptance are two related things, but they're not exactly the same thing. Approval is allowing something, and then accepting is totally embracing something.
There's no difference. If he's approving something, if he didn't accept it, he would have disapproved it.
He approved it, but that doesn't necessarily mean he accepted it.
So then why was he taking elements and putting them in the prequels, and also meeting with authors and asking them to put characters that he wrote in their prequel novels before the movies came out?
Well, in their prequel novels, like George Lucas stated, if they're going to make novels based off the movies, they have to include all those characters.
Maybe I misspoke. These aren't like novelizations of the prequels. These are like prequels to the prequels that feature characters not yet seen in the movies that George asked them to put in there.
Like, such as Darth Plagueis.
Something like...
He was involved somewhat...
Something like Cloak of Deception or... Darth Plagueis, I suppose. George is the one that asked them to put certain things like...
Well, there was a scene that didn't make it into the final cut of Revenge of the Sith where it reveals that Palpatine was lying to Anakin about Darth Plagueis being the one to manipulate everything. Although his abilities may be true, but he twisted it, and basically he's the one that's been manipulating everything. He slowly turned Anakin to the dark side. I mean,
that's true.
And there was a scene that would reveal that he was the one that did it. Also, the real reason why Palpatine killed his master Plagueis is because Plagueis wanted to break into the Jedi Temple and steal their secrets so he can become immortal. He didn't want to take over the galaxy like Darth Sidious did, and that's why Sidious killed his master Plagueis, because he wanted to use those abilities that Plagueis had, but he also wanted to be a god and wanted to rule all of the galaxy.
Well, I don't know about all of that to a T, but it's pretty much how it goes in the novel, the Plagueis novel. Like when you say that, like Palpatine was lying about Plagueis knowing how to live forever, Plagueis hadn't worked it out yet. Like that's canonical.
Well, there was also
So
a
it's not
scene there was a scene that relates in the Vader comics, the issue in the Vader comics where Anakin had a dream and he saw he saw a vision of Palpatine using the Force to create Anakin, which that's also there's context to that because that's not exactly
That's
true
Disney
either.
lore, though, right?
That's what that that's what the dream that Anakin had, but the dreams doesn't
Isn't
make
that
it
Disney
true.
lore?
Like Anakin was conceived of the Force in response to Palpatine's actions. He would be the chosen one to bring balance to the Force, which also leads me to my other issue. Like, you know how the EU had Palpatine return in the Dark Empire
Yeah, George
novel,
told
right?
him to.
Well, he gave him the okay to do it, and then Palpatine came back in the Dark Empire novel, but that kind of I
Those are
felt like that
comics.
was
There's not a novel.
that was kind of a retcon to Return of the Jedi because it made Anakin it made it seem like Anakin didn't do his job as the
Not
chosen
really,
one,
because
where he destroys Palpatine and destroys the Sith, and brings the balance back to the Force after he is redeemed in Return of the Jedi.
those are clones. And the thing about prophecies is that it doesn't mean they last forever. There was just a point in time, you know.
Oh no. Well, George Lucas said a while back that Sith cannot become Force ghosts. They can rely on physical immortality, but once that runs out, it's a wrap for them. The only people who can become Force ghosts are people that have embraced both the dark and the light within them.
Yeah, you're right. But Palpatine isn't a Force ghost in Dark Empire. He's a clone.
Well, I know that. I didn't say he was. But that's my interpretation of how I view Dark Empire, and George Lucas gave them the okay to bring back Palpatine, but it's not something that he would have done if he ever decided to continue the saga, which he said before that he was never going to make any new Star Wars movies, but if he ever decided to, that's not something he would have done.
That's kind of what we've been talking about. He let them do it because he wasn't going to do it.
Like, he had ideas in his mind before he decided to complete the outlines for Disney to buy, but the outlines consist about 50 to 60 pages of notes and then referencing ideas for 3 new movies and other possible ideas for other movies as well.
Yeah.
Like, Lucas also wanted to do fun fact, he also wanted to do a backstory to A New Hope that shows how the Rebel Alliance get the Death Star plans, which we later see as Rogue One, but Rogue One, not saying that Rogue One went on the same path.
They pretty much
but
just
he
ripped off
wanted a backstory to A New Hope.
They just pretty much ripped off like the Dark Forces storyline, right?
Yeah, the scene that I did enjoy in Rogue One, like something that I did like in Rogue One, is when Vader started slaughtering the Rebel Alliance as they were escaping with the Death Star plans. Like, that was the most badass scene. That was one of the most badass scenes I've seen since Disney made Star Wars. But other than that, like, the sequel trilogy is my biggest issue with Disney Star Wars.
I mean, that's fair enough, but like the issues that trilogy has are riddled throughout all of Disney Star Wars, and that's why I don't accept it, and I'm not interested in it, like any of it. And it can maybe come across as cynical or like I just hate it all because it's Disney Star Wars, and they've just done so much damage to the fans, to George and his characters, you know. And I love Star Wars.
I can see why people feel that way because the franchise isn't aging with them. So, do you remember when Freddie Prinze Jr. explained Star Wars back in
Oh, he tried to say
2019?
that balance is 1+1, which is false.
Well, the Force dictates who wins or loses based on balance. It's not the skills who dictate of Luke Skywalker or the Emperor that dictates who wins or
That's how
loses.
Anakin was.
There's balance between the dark
That's
and
how
the light.
Anakin was born, because Plagueis and Sidious were messing around with midichlorians and science and stuff like that. The Force answered them,
Yeah.
And that's canonical because George had input on that book. It was he actually told them to make Plagueis a moon, or is it a moon? Sorry. A lot of
Well, the midi chlorians, if George Lucas ever did decide to continue the saga with the sequel trilogy, that would have been the biggest part of the sequel trilogy if he ended up doing it, is discovering more about the midi chlorians and the wills of the Force.
That's
But
what we were saying. He had several ideas that never came to fruition. So, like, the idea that George making sequels invalidates EU is like moot because he was never going to do it.
You don't have to, like, George, as far as like George Lucas with his ideas, like he even had an idea for the sequel trilogy back in 1983, because it's pretty obvious if you watch if you pay attention to Luke and Leia's character in A New Hope, you can kind of tell it was obvious that Luke and Leia were not intended to be brother and sister. And the initial plan was, after the original trilogy, before he decided he wasn't going to make anymore, he was going to have Return of the Jedi end with Luke Skywalker looking for his long lost sister, which would lead into the next trilogy. And she would be training with a Jedi Master since birth. And she would be the one to lead the Jedi into the future. Although those plans never came into fruition, because when George Lucas decided to rewrite Return of the Jedi, he decided at the last minute to make Leia his sister, and he decided he was done making Star Wars movies.
Well, he knew that the redemption of Anakin was the end of the story, basically.
Well, he that's what the original trilogy was always meant to focus on. But the idea of Luke and Leia being brother and sister,
it was
that was never meant to happen.
It was developed over time, and it's stuff like the Splinter of the Mind's Eye, right? It was written as a sequel before Empire was ever.
Luke and Leia almost hooked up in
it's
that book.
Yeah, the story developed over time because George didn't know he would ever get to make another one, right? After the original one. So.
Yeah, and then once he saw the success of A New Hope, that's when he decided to complete the trilogy. Now, originally the trilogy was supposed to be in one big movie, but then it became too long to be a movie, so he had to split it up to make the first act about this, and then the second act about that, and then the second act about that, third act about that.
Yeah. But I don't know what else to say really, because it seems like it's obviously awesome talking about like the history of the movies and stuff, but it seems like we're not coming to the same conclusion in terms of like canon, right? And I just can't stress enough that George was in control and everything else was bound by him, and that's how it worked.
I mean, that's the way you see it. Like you see it as George Lucas canon. I can see why, because of the stuff that you provide on your YouTube channel, but that's not the way that I see it.
So we'll maybe just have to agree to disagree, but like, I guess.
But I will say this though. If you can provide a video evidence that 100% proves, like George Lucas would have to say, yes, this is my canon. He would have to say, this is my story. And he has to really endorse the EU. Like, it has to be more than what the evidence that you provided. And yeah, I will come to the conclusion. But until then, I'm gonna stick with the way I see it.
That's, I mean, at least you're open to like changing your mind. But like, there is a quote out there where George talks about Star Wars overall as not being his but ours when he's talking to the publishing, right? He says it's not mine, it's ours. And then he's obviously,
Hold on, I gotta get my laptop charger.
I mean, we're probably going to round it out soon anyway. I've got to read some of this book. But like, kudos for coming on. Like, obviously I called you out or whatever, but it just seems like there's quite a lot of animosity going on, and it's all to do with Star Wars, which we obviously love, right?
Before I leave here, I do want to address one other thing that really fueled my issue with you guys, and that has to do with Star Wars Forge.
Okay.
Like the fact that he made 3 videos already about me. Like 2 videos were complete, like straight up saying, "Oh, I'm Darth Watts," like mimicking me, and then also the fact that he made a post about me calling me a GAP, which is a Grogu attracted person.
Fair, you'd have to bring that up with him because like that's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, but that's also what fueled my issue, is that the fact that he did that, but the fact that he did that was completely was completely just like, it tells me everything that I need to know about him.
But then at the end, like, I get it, like it's not cool, right? But like, it's also the internet and that kind of stuff happens. Like, you came on my stream a few weeks back and called me a brain lollipop, right? You were calling me stupid, you were calling me all sorts. So like, it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, and I do want to apologize for calling you stupid. That was wrong on my part. Like, I have every right to disagree, but that was not right for me to call you stupid, and I do apologize.
That's fair
about
enough
that.
And appreciated, because like it's about Star Wars, right? And I'm totally cool to like disagree on canon or whatever. Like, you've got your own views on it, but then you've got other people like in your circle that are like, they make it personal. Like, what's his name? Lucky Kennedy. That dude's an instigator, man. Like, I'd stay clear of that guy for sure.
Well, Lucky Kennedy has made a video about a George Lucas quote that OG Star Wars has shared, and it said something about Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker getting together, which that quote actually came from Timothy Zahn.
That's from her Lucas Facts segment. She's obviously just accidentally attributed it to Lucas. That's not all Lucas quotes that are in there. That's stuff to do with his company and stuff. But like, the fact that dude has been running with that for months and like all over every platform, he's got some weird like infatuation with it or something. Like, I recommend staying clear of that stuff, because you'll get pulled into it and then it stops being about Star Wars, right? It starts being about personal stuff.
Like, I can respect everybody's opinion, but what I don't like is the fact that I get called a fake fan over my opinions. Because technically I like some of Disney Star Wars, but I've also grew up liking the original 6 movies, and I've been a fan since long before Disney took over Lucasfilm. Like back in 2011, when I still lived in Michigan, I had a Star Wars themed birthday party, and those were some of my best memories. And I also like dressing up as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi was my most favorite character that I admire, and I always wanted that Jedi Padawan hairstyle like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I prequel Obi-Wan's my favorite, and then I like Luke Skywalker. They're my 2 favorites. But yeah, I mean, we could obviously sit and talk about what we love about Star Wars all day, but like, what was I going to say? Like, I'm well, not probably. I'm guilty of like facetiously calling people fake fans, right? And it comes from when, because all you need to do to be a Star Wars fan is love George's movies, right? Everything else is extra.
I love George's movies. I like the original
Yeah,
6.
all that, everything else is extra. But my issue and where I see people being frauds is when, like, well, like you're saying you like the Disney stuff, but like you've already kind of said that you see the issues with it. It's kind of their own continuity. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
if people can, if they like it, whatever, but at least admit what it is, and then I'm having Darth Momo on next week, and my issue with him, that I'll bring up, it's the fact that it's not only are you praising this new stuff, but you're also going out of your way to like try and discredit and diminish what came before. And I don't see why a fan would do something like that, you know?
Well, my intention was not to discredit or anything. Like I'm not saying it because I'm not saying it because it has nothing to do with liking or hating the expanded universe or liking or hating Disney Star Wars. I'm saying it as a way that's like I've always said that George Lucas didn't fully endorse the EU as canon. Like I've always said that on my YouTube channel, but not once have I ever said I hated the expanded universe or I hate it or I hated like anything that I never said any of that. I always stated that like I'm not against the expanded universe. I just don't see it as George Lucas canon.
I mean, yeah, but that like no EU fan is out there saying like it like George wrote all of it. George, like, it's all from, not all of it's from George, right? But it's his company that he authorized to do it because he was never going to make more, right? It's all canon under him. His movies are on top. That's how it works. And that's all we're saying, because Disney are trying to eradicate that from history, basically.
He had every right to override the EU at any point if he ever decided to continue.
Like people use Boba Fett as an example, but then what happened was a lot of those stories were intact because of retcons and stuff, right? And Star Wars was the only company to do continuity on that level, like that meticulously. It's incredible. And that's why I love it so much. It's the continuity. Like, it keeps the integrity of itself. It's fantastic. And Disney are just not managing to hold a candle to it. But what they're doing is they're trying to destroy it in the process. Pardon me.
Okay. But my channel, like, for people that have followed my channel, like, my channel isn't all about debunking the EU and stuff like that. I got tons of videos on my YouTube channel where I report on Star Wars news and read updates on Star Wars projects and just report on them based on the articles that I've been seeing. That's usually the majority of my videos. It's nothing to do like that. Like the fact that I talk about where I have to address the EU, that's only a small fraction of what I do on my YouTube channel. And I've also been on YouTube since 2018. And my very first video was on the Han Solo movie review. And I recorded that video inside of a McDonald's, although the quality was terrible because that was before I knew how to edit videos and stuff. But now since I learned how to edit videos, like some of my videos where I do voiceovers, I make all that in Adobe Premiere. Like I use Adobe softwares for my thumbnail making and my editing.
I mean, I've only been doing this like just over a year, so my quality's still not up there. But yeah, it's fun. But
well, it's 2026, and really in 2026, you can't make videos where you have your phone up to your face anymore. And that's what I was doing on my YouTube channel. I used to make videos where I was putting the phone up to my face anymore, but not anymore because it's not 2016, and with all of the latest technology, there's no reason not to have good quality on your YouTube channel, especially if you're a channel talking about Star Wars, Marvel, or DC or any movie talk. There's no reason not to have good quality. Like even if you can't afford Adobe softwares, you can get Windows Movie Maker, which is totally free.
Got you.
But anyways, I do have
yeah, no,
to get going here. I got
the last thing
today.
I want to say before you go is like, just I don't know, because I see out there in like Lucky Kennedy's comments and Momo's Griff Trooper, and it's like, just have your own opinion on it, man. You don't have to like get involved in like slagging people like OG Star Wars. She's a massive Star Wars fan, and I've actually learned a lot from her. So just take people as they are.
It doesn't
basically.
make. Well, I'll say she is a Star Wars fan. Like honestly, from my point of view, like it doesn't matter what eras of Star Wars you like, whether you like the expanded universe or only like the original 6 movies. Like my dad only grew up with the original trilogy, and he only likes the original trilogy. He doesn't like the prequels or anything else.
Does he like?
So
the
he only
Ewoks?
likes the Star Wars movies he grew up. No, he hasn't read the EU books. He's only watched the original trilogy. But my point of view is that whether it's the expanded universe, Disney Star Wars, or just the original 6 movies, or if you like all Star Wars, you like Star Wars, you're a fan. That's pretty much my view. But your view might be different.
Yeah, I guess the difference is that I don't view Disney Star Wars as Star Wars. But anyways, dudes, I'll let you get going. Kudos for coming on. It's probably nerve-wracking to come on here. So.
Oh, it's not nerve-wracking at all. I was planning on doing that.
Gotcha. Right.
All right.
Take it easy, man.
You too. Bye.
And then there was one. It looks like OG's behind on the stream. She's responding to stuff that happened a wee while ago. It's funny. Yeah, exactly, Soul Assassin. Like what you like, don't insult or attack others. And suppose that's all there is to it. Right, we have time to at least get a chapter in, because who was it that hopped in? And cheers for everyone in chat getting involved. I would have liked to have got a lot of your comments up, but my brain was on fire. Who was it? We shall find this comment. Andres, that's who it was. He says, "What happened? I thought this was a book stream." And apologies, because it's supposed to be so. No, Nasal, we're using vinegar. That's how we do it. If we were using honey, we wouldn't have got him on the stream to talk to him. Right, we'll get through a chapter, right? We'll send you off on a good note. Let's do this for SWA, because he likes to look at me on the full screen. I think we're on chapter 7. Let me just double check. And I know what it's like, folks. You'll be like, "Oh, you should have asked them this, you should have asked them that." When you're in the moment, it's difficult to think. So I think I at least got my point across in a cordial way. Like, yeah. You wouldn't have a conversation like that with Lucky Kennedy, that's for sure. And when you start talking in circles a little bit, it's a bit irrelevant. Right. Cool. Chapter 7. Get the old spectacles on. They're all grubby. Mute this so I don't blow your eardrums. Right, folks. What time are we on? We owe it to the real fans to read a chapter. I bet it's like crazy long. Oh no, we might get 2 chapters. Nice. We're doing it under this lamp because I've got no light in the basement. Salvo ended his helmet comlink communication with Marcana's theatre commanders and joined Clymer at what had become the Troopers Forward command base. The other 3 commandos were searching for the escaped Jedi. Pardon me, but Salvo didn't want the squad leader out of his sight. General Lorne and the 2 Jedi Knights he arrived with were ambushed and killed, Salvo shared with Clymer. Apparently, no troopers among the 22nd staked a claim to the moral high ground. It's over, I have the moral high ground. Clymer let the remark go. Did you report your actions to the High Command? Salvo shook his head. But don't think I won't. Like I told you, it depends on whether we're able to kill them. Just now, I don't want your actions reflecting negatively on my command. Did you learn anything about what prompted the execution order? Salvo spent a moment arguing with himself about what he should and should not reveal. Theatre Command reports that 4 Jedi Masters attempted to assassinate Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, or as Lucino calls him, Palpatine. Oh, Daniel Noack, apologies, I should have informed you as to what was going on. So we are reading Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, the must-read sequel to Revenge of the Sith. We're only 7 chapters in, and basically our Jedi characters have just been attacked during Order 66 and they're on the run. I believe Darth Vader turns up in a couple chapters from now. The 4 Jedi attacked Senator Palpatine in his chambers on Coruscant. When you read stuff like that, it just gets you thinking about the movies, right? It's so good. Let's see. The reason is unclear, but it appears that the Jedi have been angling from the start to assume control of the Republic, and that the war may have been engineered to help bring that about. Clymer was stunned. So Palpatine's order was put in place because he anticipated that the Jedi might try something? It's not unusual to have a contingency plan, Clymer. You should know that better than anyone. Clymer thought hard about it. How does it make you feel, Commander? About what the Jedi did, I mean. Salvo took a moment to respond. As far as I'm concerned, their treachery just adds more enemies to the list. Other than that, I don't feel one way or another about it. Clymer studied Salvo. You know, word among some of the troopers is that the Jedi had a hand in ordering the creation of the Grand Army. Were they figuring we'd side with them when they grabbed control, or would they have turned on us eventually? No way to know, except they made their move too soon. Salvo nodded. Even now, troopers and Jedi are battling it out inside the Temple of Coruscant. Thousands are believed dead. Ooh, that's where Anakin is, right? Can confirm. Oh, wrong one, sorry. Can confirm, Nasal says, Lucino used both Palpatine and Palpatine as well as Plagueis and Plagius. Doth Plagius the Wise. Yeah, maybe, Nasal. I've never been to Coruscant, Clymer said, breaking a brief silence. Closest I ever came was training on one of the inner worlds of that system. You've been there? Once, before the start of the Outer Rim sieges. Who would you rather be serving, Commander? Palpatine or the Jedi? That's outside the scope of the part we were created to play, Clymer. When this war ends, we'll be sitting pretty. I wouldn't have thought so even 12 hours ago, but now, with the Jedi out of the picture, I suspect we're in for a promotion. Clymer glanced at the sky. Going to be dark soon. Puts our search teams at high risk of being ambushed by Seps. Salvo shrugged. More than 100 seeker droids have been deployed. Shouldn't be hard to find 3 Jedi. Clymer blew his breath out in derision. You know as well as I do that they're too smart to be caught. Granted, Salvo said. By now, they're probably wearing bodysuits and armor. Ho ho. Chapter 8. We can do this. Eat, Shrine said, forcing some of the rations he had taken from his utility belt on a distracted Oli Starstone. We don't know when we'll have another chance. Several hours had passed since they had fled the ambush site, and they had travelled clear across the city to an empty warehouse close to the access ramps of the northernmost of the landing platform bridges. It was midnight, and they were attired in the garb of 3 mercenaries they had taken by surprise behind the Argent Tower. Shrine continued. There may come a point when we'll have to get rid of our comlinks, beacon transceivers, and lightsabers. Being taken prisoner could be our way off Marcana. Should we use force influence? Starstone said. That might work on a couple of troopers at a time, Shrine said, but not an entire platoon, much less a full company. Chittak eyed her Padawan with clear intent. It's a matter of surviving until the Republic is victorious. Shrine had a ration pack lifted to his mouth when his beacon transceiver began to vibrate. He fished the device from the deep pocket of his Kuravar robe and regarded it in silence. Could be troopers tapping into our frequencies, Chittak said. Shrine studied the beacon's small display screen. It's a coded burst transmission from the temple. Chittak hurried to his side to peer over his shoulder. Can you decipher it? It's not a simple 913, Shrine said, referring to the code the Jedi used to locate one another in emergency situations. Give me a moment. When the burst transmission began to recycle, he turned to Chittak in stark incredulity. The High Council is ordering all Jedi back to Coruscant. Chittak was dumbfounded. No explanation, Shrine said. It's a trap. Oh, OG's back in real time. I hope I did an okay job putting my stance forward, OG. Why, Nasal loves X-Wings. Didn't get him started. He's just bored of Yuzan Vong, apparently. I'll never understand that, Nasal. let's see. Chatak stood up and paced away from him. What could have happened? He thought about it. A follow-up attack on Coruscant by Grievous? Perhaps, Chatak said, but that doesn't account for the clone troopers' disloyalty. It's an inhibitor chip, lads. Maybe there's been a universal clone trooper revolt, Starstone suggested. The Kaminoans could have betrayed us. All these years, they could have been in league with Count Dooku. They could have programmed the troopers to revolt at a predetermined time. Shrine was glancing at Chatak. Does she ever stop? I haven't been able to find the off switch. Shrine moved to the nearest window and watched the night sky. Republic starfighters will be setting down on the landing platform by late morning, he said. Chatak joined him at the window. Then Morkana has won. Shrine turned to face her. We have to reach the platform. The troopers have their orders, and now we have ours. If we can seize a transport or starfighters, we may yet be able to return to Coruscant. Throughout the long night and morning, explosive light strobed through the warehouse's arched windows as Republic and Separatist forces clashed at sea and in the air. The battle for the landing platforms raged well into the afternoon, but now the Separatist forces were in full retreat. Streaming across the two intact bridges, leaving the platform's defence to homing spider droids, hailfire weapons platforms, and tanks. By the time the Jedi managed to reach the more northern of the pair of bridges, the wide avenue was so closely packed with fleeing mercenaries and other separatist fighters, they could scarcely make any headway against the flow. A crossing that should have taken an hour required more than 3, and the sun was low on the horizon when they reached the end of the bridge. They were just short of the platform itself when a succession of powerful explosives took out the final 100 meters of the span and split the massive hexagon into thirds, sending hundreds of clone troopers, mercenaries, and separatist droids plummeting into the churning water. Wow. Double A's doing a Sean Gambroni. Oh my gosh. Shrine knew that the Separatists were responsible for the explosion. Before too long, munitions planted under the final bridge would be detonated as well. By then, though, there would be no stopping the Republic onslaught. While mercenaries shouldered past him in a frenzy, Shrine surveyed the forest of bridge pylons left exposed by the explosions, calculating their distance from one another and the odds of accomplishing what he had in mind. Finally, he said, either we frog leap for the platform or we head back into the city. He looked at Starstone. You decide. Her blue eyes sparkled and she put on a brave face. Not a problem, Master. We leap for it. Shrine almost grinned. Right, one at a time. Chatak put her arm around her Padawan's shoulder. Let's just hope no clone troopers are watching. Shrine gestured to his pilfered outfit of robe and headcloth. We're just a bunch of very agile mercs. Chatak took the lead, with Starstone right on her heels. Shrine waited until they were halfway along before following. The first few leaps were easy, but the closer he got to the platform, the greater the distance between the pylons, many of which had been left with jagged tops. On his penultimate jump, he nearly lost his balance, and on his final leap for the edge of the platform, his hands arrived well in front of his feet. A last-moment grab from Starstone was all that saved him from a plunge into the waves. Remind me to mention this to the council, Padawan, he told her. The platform was being hammered, but not past the point of utility. On one fractured section, gunships were beginning to land, along with a vanguard flight of troop transports. Elsewhere, battle droids were being flattened by Mag Pulse busters, then picked off before they had a chance to reactivate by why is it hard to say, V-Wings and ARC 170s, performing lightning-fast strafing runs. With night falling, the Jedi wove through firefights and fountaining explosions, using their captured blasters rather than their lightsabers to defend themselves against teams of clone troopers and commandos, though without killing any. They came to a halt at a ruined stretch of permacrete, at the far end of which a squadron of firefighters was touching down. "Can you pilot a ship?" Shrine asked Starstone in a rush. "Only an interceptor, Master, but without an astromech droid, I doubt I could fly one to Coruscant, and I've never even seen the cockpit of a V-Wing." Shrine considered it. "Then it'll have to be an ARC 170. He pointed to a bomber that was just landing, probably to refuel. "That's our ship. It's our best bet anyway. Enough chairs for the three of us, and hyperspace capable." Chittak watched the crew for a moment. "We may have to stun the co-pilot and tail gunner." Shrine was on the verge of moving when he felt the beacon transceiver vibrate again, and he pawned it from the deep pocket of the robe. "What is it, Rowan?" Chittak asked while he was staring in how do you say that word? Staring in stupefaction at the device. I don't know. "What?" she repeated. "Another coded burst from the beacon," he said without moving his gaze from the screen. "Same order?" "The opposite." Eyes wide, he looked up at Chittak and Starstone. "All Jedi are ordered to avoid Coruscant at all costs. Cheers, Obi-Wan." And go into hiding. "Oh, no way. Who's this?" Kid Cartco. Matt Wilkins himself. When are we going to read... Oh, it's disappeared. Escape from Dagu. Should be releasing soon. Maybe we could ask Chris Nelson. Matt, you just missed my debate, right? Debated canon for about an hour straight. So that's what we're doing. To be fair, like I would maybe give Matt the link, but I'm absolutely knackered. It's been a long day. I was actually kind of hoping that our guest wouldn't turn up after the hour that he didn't. But then the fans wanted some real Star Wars, so here we are. Where did we get to? Good to see you, Matt. Thanks for being here. That's awesome. Can we put? I'd play a clip for Matt, but this app I'm using doesn't like clips. Here, let's try it. What one can we play for him? Let's do Empire.
I've just made a deal that'll keep the Empire out of here forever.
We would be honored if you would join us.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too.
Oh yeah. Get off my screen. We're still getting used to this. Is it going to work? Yes. Camera's still on. Right, let's do it. Where did we get to? Another coded burst from the beacon, he said, without moving his gaze from the screen. Same order? The opposite. Eyes wide, he looked up at Chittak and Starstone. All Jedi are ordered to avoid Coruscant at all costs. We're to abandon whatever mission we're involved in and go into hiding. Chittak's mouth fell open. Shrine made his lips a thin line. We still need to get off Marcana. They double-checked their blasters, and again, were on the verge of setting out for the Starfighter when every Separatist droid and war machine on the landing platform abruptly began to power down. At first, Shrine thought the other droid buster had been delivered without his being aware of it. Then he realized his mistake. This was something different. The droids hadn't simply been dazzled. They had been deactivated. Even the Hailfires and tanks. Red photoreceptors lost their glow. Alloy limbs and antennas relaxed. Every soldier and war machine stood motionless. At once, a full wing of gunships dropped out of the noon sky, releasing almost 1,000 clone troopers, riding polyplast cables to the platform's ruined surface. Shrine, Chittak, and Starstone watched helplessly as they were almost instantly surrounded. Capture is infinitely preferable to execution, Shrine said. It could still be our way out. Closest to the ragged edge of the platform, he allowed his blaster, comlink, beacon transceiver, and lightsaber to slip from his hands into the dark waters far below. Dude, that's grim. That's kind of like in the Dark Times comics where they would like get rid of their lightsabers, right? Oh, chapter 9. So we're actually on part 2 now, folks. The Emperor's Emissary. We made it. Let's see. Oh, right. We've reached Darth Vader. What time are we on? Right, I can get through chapter 9. We've finally reached Vader. He Vadered! Right. The Star Destroyer Exactor, second in a line of newly minted Imperator-class naval vessels, emerged from hyperspace and inserted into orbit. Its spiked bow aimed at the former separatist world of Marcana. At 1,600 meters in length, the Exactor, unlike the Venator-class predecessors, was a product of Kuet drive yards and featured gaping ventral launching bays rather than a dorsal flight deck, moved by gravity rather than by their Eon drives. The carcasses of Banking Clan and Commerce Guild warships were grim reminders of the Republic's invasion that had been launched in the concluding weeks of the war. Marcana, however, had fared far better than some contested worlds, and the corporate alliance elite had decamped for remote systems in the galaxy's Tyngel arm, taking much of the planet's wealth with it. In his quarters aboard the capital ship, now under his personal command, Darth Vader, gloved and artificial right hand clamped. Darth Vader's gloved and artificial right hand clamped on the hilt of his new lightsaber. Did he bleed the crystal, folks? Did he bleed his crystal? knelt before a larger-than-life hologram of Emperor Palpatine. Only 4 standard weeks had elapsed since the war had ended, and Palpatine had proclaimed himself Emperor of the former Republic, to the adulation of the leaders of countless worlds that had been drawn into the protracted conflict, and to the sustained acclaim of nearly the entire Senate. Palpatine wore a voluminous embroidered robe of rich weave, the cowl of which was raised, concealed in shadow the scars he had suffered at the hands of the 4 treasonous Jedi Masters who had attempted to arrest him in his chambers in the Senate office building. Alright, okay. Concealing his scars, yeah, I thought I missed that. As well as other deformations resulting from his fierce battle with Master Yoda in the rotunda of the Senate itself. "This is an important time for you, Lord Vader," Palpatine was saying. "You are finally free to make full use of your powers. If not for us, the galaxy would never have been restored to order. Now you must embrace the sacrifices you made to bring this about, and revel in the fact that you have fulfilled your destiny. It can all be yours, my young apprentice. Anything you wish. You need only have the determination to take it, at whatever cost to those who stand in your way." Palpatine's disfigurements were really nothing new, nor was his deliberate, vaguely contemptuous voice. The Emperor had used the same voice to procure his first apprentice, to ensnare Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray in facilitating his dark designs, to persuade Count Dooku to unleash a war, and finally to seduce Vader, former Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, to the dark side, with the promise that he could keep Anakin's wife from dying. Wow, this is really well written. Few among the galaxy's trillions were aware that Palpatine was also a Sith Lord, known by the title Darth Sidious, or that he had manipulated the war in order to bring down the Republic, crush the Jedi, and place the entire galaxy under his full control. Fewer still knew of the crucial role Sidious's current apprentice had played in those events, having helped Sidious defend himself against the Jedi who had sought his arrest, having led the assault on the Jedi Temple of Coruscant, having killed in cold blood the half-dozen members of the Separatist Council in their hidden fortress on volcanic Mustafar, and who there had suffered even more gravely than Palpatine. Down on one knee, his black-masked face raised to the hologram, tall, fearsome Vader was wearing the bodysuit and armor helmet, boots and cloak with that both camouflaged the evidence of his transformation and sustained his life. Without revealing his distress at being unable to maintain the kneeling posture, Vader said, "What are your orders, Master?" and asked himself, is this poorly designed suit the source of my distress, or is something else at work? Do you recall what I told you about the relationship between power and understanding, Lord Vader? Yes, Master. Where the Jedi gained power through understanding, the Sith gain understanding through power. Palpatine smiled faintly. This will become clearer to you as you continue your training, Lord Vader. And, to that end, I will provide you with the means to increase your power and broaden your understanding. In due time, power will fill the vacuum created by the decisions you made. The acts you carried out, married to the order of the Sith, you will need no other companion than the dark side of the Force. The remark stirred something within Vader, but he was unable to make full sense of the feelings that washed through him. A commonly of anger and disappointment, of grief and regret. The events of Anakin Skywalker's life might have occurred a lifetime ago, or to someone else entirely, and yet some residue of Anakin continued to plague Vader, like pain from a phantom limb. Wow. Word has reached me, Palpatine was saying, that a group of clone troopers on Morcana may have deliberately refused to comply with Order 66. Vader tightened his hold on the lightsaber. I had not heard, Master. He knew that Order 66 had not been hardwired into the clones by the Kaminoans who had grown them. Rather, the troopers, the commanders especially, had been programmed to demonstrate unfailing loyalty to the Supreme Chancellor in his role as Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic. And so when the Jedi had revealed their seditious plans, they had become a threat to Palpatine and had been sentenced to death. So, like, Lucino had help from Howard Rothman, from George via Howard Rothman, to do with the Dark Times and stuff. And, like, it's talking about the clones being programmed, not in the sense of, like, being hardwired, but, like, basically, like, trained in order to do this. So, like, this is from George. So, this just, like, taking words like programmed and taking it, like, so literally, it's very, very Filoni, TCW-esque kind of stuff. There's that context we're talking about, right? Where did we get to? That's me talking too much. And so when the Jedi had revealed their, that's where we got to. Okay. On myriad worlds, Order 66 had been executed without misfortune. On Maigito, Seleucimi, Felucia, and many others, taken by surprise, thousands of Jedi had been assassinated by troopers who had for 3 years answered almost exclusively to them. A few Jedi were known to have escaped death by dint of superior skill or accident, but on Morcana, apparently unique events had played out, events that were potentially more dangerous to the Empire than the few Jedi who had survived. What was the cause of the troopers' insubordination, Master? Vader asked. Contagion, Palpatine sneered. Contagion brought about by fighting alongside the Jedi for so many years. Clone or otherwise, there is only so much a being can be programmed to do. Sooner or later, even a lowly trooper will become the sum of his experiences. Light years distant in his inner sanctum, Palpatine leaned toward the hollow transceiver's cam. But you will demonstrate to them the peril of independent thinking, Lord Vader, the refusal to obey orders, to obey you, Master, to obey us, my apprentice. Remember that. Yes, my Master. Vader paused with purpose. It's possible, then, that some Jedi may have survived. Palpatine adopted a look of consummate displeasure. I am not worried about your pathetic former friends, Lord Vader. I want those clone troopers punished, as a reminder to all of them that for the rest of their abbreviated lives, they would do well to understand whom they truly serve. Retracting his face into his hood of his robe, he said in a seething tone, It is time that you were revealed as my authority. I leave it to you to derive the point home. And the escaped Jedi Master? Palpatine fell silent for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. The escaped Jedi, yes. You may kill any you come across during the course of your mission. Wow. We'll leave it at chapter 10, okay? Nice. We'll set it up back next to the complete saga. And Oh, Danny boy is away. Catch you later, dude. Yeah, thanks for being here and talking sense. Right, folks, so that is us for this evening. Thank you so much for being here and having my back during the discussion. Yeah, we'll be back again. I don't know what happened there. We'll be back again on Monday, potentially with another guest to debate or whatever. And hopefully that'll be the last one, and then we can just get back to reading the book and talking nonsense. So thank you all so much for being here. As always, long live the expanded universe. Lang may your lums reek. It was all canon under George. Great debate. There is no debate. Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, so everyone make sure you're tuning into Bane of the Shells over on Rumble later. He'll have plenty of topics for you to join in on and talk about, and he's also currently doing the same book on audiobook on Bane's expanded holocron. Correct me, expanded universe holocron. That's it. So make sure you're doing that. I'll take up no more of your time. We've been going for it disappeared. How long have we been going for? Who cares, right? Catch you later, folks. Take it easy, right? We'll need to play a clip for exiting. Let's do one more clip.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
All right, you win. I see you've played knifey spoony before.
Hey, give me one of those famous giant beers I heard so much about.
Something wrong, Yank?
No, it's pretty big, I guess.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
Bear it is.
No, I said coffee.
Beer?
Coffee.
B-ear?
C-O.
B-A?
Right. How do you end this stream? That's what I want to know. That's the one thing I didn't work out how to do. Is it here? Oh, no. How do I end the stream? Right, let's see. Dude, how do you get... Oh, no. We're stuck here forever. Oh, there we go. You know, the bit that says end stream. Hopefully it ends both of them. Right, here we go. Catch you later.